East London at night carries a particular kind of electricity. The glow of corner shops, the hum of buses, the distant wail of sirens weaving through the city's arteries. It is a landscape of constant motion, where the ordinary and the extraordinary often occupy the same square mile. But on a cold December evening in 2015, something happened that pushed even the city's tolerance for the unusual to its limit. A crime so specific, so oddly configured, that it seemed to slip instantly from the police report into urban legend. A violent robbery, a shaken medical practitioner, and a stolen vehicle that defied categorization. Not a van, not a paramedic truck, but a fluorescent Audi TT marked unmistakably as a Circumcision ambulance. It's a sports car designed to turn heads, and on this night it did, just not in the way its owner intended. The story begins on Alderman Avenue in Barking, a residential street lined with modest homes and quiet routines. The practitioner had just completed a home visit, one of many he performed each week. His work required mobility, precision, and the ability to reach families quickly. The Audi TT, retrofitted with medical equipment, provided all of that. But as he stepped away from the house, the night shifted. 3 figures emerged from the darkness. They moved with confidence of people who had rehearsed this moment. They closed the distance in seconds, a hand over the mouth, a wrenching pull at the belt, the metallic snap of keys being torn free, the cold scrape of a watch ripped from a wrist. The attack was not chaotic, it was controlled, efficient. And then it was over. The practitioner fell, the world blurred. Consciousness slipped. When he came to, the street was empty. In the Audi TT, the fluorescent, unmistakable, impossible to miss Audi TT was gone. To understand the magnitude of the theft, one must understand the vehicle. It was not a standard medical transport. It was a paradox on wheels, a high-performance sports car, capable of rapid acceleration, wrapped in fluorescent Battenberg markings. Blue emergency lights mounted discreetly but unmistakably. The word ambulance printed boldly across its bodywork. Inside, the interior had been modified. Sterile instruments, medical supplies, specialized equipment for performing circumcisions in private homes. It was a machine built for speed, repurposed for ritual. A luxury coupe, transformed into a mobile surgical site. And in the context of London traffic, it was a sight that demanded attention. Even parked, it radiated a kind of surreal authority, half emergency vehicle, half sports car fantasy. For the thieves, it was the worst possible choice. For the public, it was irresistible. When the story broke, it spread with astonishing speed. The phrase Circumcision ambulance ricocheted across social media, repeated with a mixture of disbelief and fascination. People shared the photo not because they recognized the vehicle, but because they couldn't quite believe it existed. The internet did what it always does. It turned confusion into commentary, commentary into humor, and humor into momentum. Headlines leaned into the obscurity. Posts speculated widely about the thieves' reaction when they realized what they had stolen. The story became a kind of collective Rorschach test, part crime report, part comedy of errors. But beneath the jokes, the fact remains: a man had been violently attacked, and a highly specialized medical vehicle was missing. While the public laughed, the investigation unfolded with quiet determination. The vehicle's distinctiveness, its greatest liability for the thieves, became its greatest asset for recovery. Neighborhood watch groups circulated the image. Volunteer security organizations amplified the alert. The Metropolitan Police monitored incoming tips. The Audi TT, with its fluorescent markings and emergency decals, was impossible to hide. And then, less than 24 hours after the attack, the search ended. The car was found in a pub car park in Newham, parked casually, as though it had simply been left there after a night out. No attempt to strip it, no attempt to disguise it, no sign of attackers, just a fluorescent sports car sitting under a grey London sky, waiting to be reclaimed. The thieves had vanished. The vehicle had not. Lost in the spectacle was the human reality. The practitioner had been targeted, assaulted, and left unconscious. His tools, his watch, and his sense of safety were taken from him in seconds. The story may have been strange, but the harm was real. Behind the viral headlines was a man who had dedicated his work to serving families across the country. A man who, on that night, became the victim of a crime that would be remembered, not for its violence, but for its surreal details. The Circumcision ambulance heist occupies a unique place in London's criminal history. It's a story that feels like satire, yet every detail is true. A crime that reads like fiction, yet unfolds in the very real streets of East London. It is a reminder that the city is full of contradictions, moments where the serious and the absurd collide, where violence and comedy coexist, uneasy, where a stolen sports car can become a national curiosity. In the end, the vehicle returned to its owner. The case faded from the headlines, but the story remained an unforgettable collision of the improbable and the undeniable. Sometimes it leaves you with a fluorescent Audi TT you cannot sell, cannot hide, and cannot explain. And sometimes it leaves behind a story that London will never quite forget.